Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printing, so far we have seen so many patterns. In this video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So if you could carefully observe this pattern, in the center, we have the highest value which is 5, and going further, the values are keeps reducing. We have 4 and we have 3 and we have 2 and we have 1 at the end. So in this way, in this diamond shape, these values are having in this specific pattern. So let us go ahead and see how we can print this particular pattern. So in order to print this particular pattern, what we will be doing is that we will first divide this pattern into two patterns, which is one is this above direction and second which is this below pattern. So by combining both of these patterns, we will get the whole pattern. So in order to print this particular above pattern, what I will be doing is that in order to keep track of this many number of rows, I will use a variable which is rows and assign with 5, because you can observe we have 5 rows: row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4 and row 5. So for that reason I am taking the value as 5. So apart from these values, we are also having these spaces, right? So you can observe in this left side we have spaces, so we need to print those spaces in order to get the exact pattern. So in order to keep track of those spaces, I will use a variable spaces, and I will assign those spaces with how many number of spaces that we are having in the first row. So if we can see the spaces, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have got 8 spaces, but I cannot directly put the value 8 here, because if we change the value of rows, this pattern will be changed and these spaces of 8 will be affect that pattern. So for that reason, we need to derive a logic, and the logic is that 2 into rows, 2 into how many number of rows we are having, minus 2. So this will gives the exact pattern even if we change the value of rows. So 2 into rows which is 10 and 10 minus 2 which is 8. So we can able to get the spaces which are 8. So after that, in order to generate these many number of rows, I will use a for loop for I in range. So now I will be generating the range of values, and the range of values should be as like we need to use those values in order to generate every single value in this pattern. So as you can observe in this middle value, if we take and generate these middle values, we can able to generate these values which are in the left side and these values which are in the right side. So first we will be generating these middle values which are 1, 2, 3, 5. So in order to do that, I will start with 1 and go till the value of rows plus 1. Rows is having the value 5. By the functionality of rows plus 1, we will be stopped at the value of rows. So inside this, in order to know what values we are having in I will simply print the value I here. So as we have expected, we have got the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 which are having in the middle. So now what we will be doing is that if we could observe this pattern carefully, we are having two symmetric patterns here. One is in this left side and another is in this right side. So what we will be doing is that again we need to divide this particular pattern, above pattern, into two patterns, which is one is in the left side and one is in the right side. First, we will print the left side pattern. Later, we will print the right side pattern. So, in order to print the left side pattern, you can observe a logic that in every single row of this left side pattern, we are starting with value 1 and going till the value of I. In the first row, we are starting with value 1 and going till the value of I, which is 1 only. The second row, we are starting with 1 and going till the value I, which is 2. In the third row, we are starting with 1 and going till the value of 3, which is the value of I here. So like that, in every single row, we are starting with value 1 and going till the value of I. These are repeated, right? So when we have this kind of repeated statements, we generally use loops. So that is what I will be doing now. Inside of this for loop, I will use another loop for j in range. So now we need to generate those range of values. So the range of values should be starting with 1 and going till the value of I. So for that reason I am mentioning I plus 1. So in this for loop, instead of printing the value I will print the value j here. So now if I execute this, we can see the values 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can observe that we have got the exact values that is that what we have in its left side pattern. So now the only thing we need to do is that we need to arrange those values so that we can able to get the pattern. So to arrange them, I will use an end, a single space. By default, this end parameter of this print function having new line, we are replacing that new line with a single space so that we can able to get everything in a single line. So this is not also what we wanted. So after that, what I will be doing is that as and when this value of j reaches to the value I here, we need to print a new line. That is what happening here. So for the time being, forget this particular right side pattern, focus only on the left side pattern. We are generating new line after this j reaching to the value I. So this j reaching to the value 2, which is I value, we are getting a new line here, starting with 1 again. So for that reason, as and when we completed this inner for loop, we need to print a new line. So this inner for loop is responsible for starting with 1, going till the value I. So after it reaches to the value I, we need to print a new line. That is what I am doing here. So after that, if we see, we are getting in this shape and we need to get in the shape. So to do that, we need to first print the values of spaces. So in order to print those spaces, as and when we enter into this outer for loop, we need to print spaces because first we are having these spaces, then only we are having these numbers. So for that, first I will print space and I will multiply this space with spaces variable, and in the end I will make nothing. So I am printing this many number of spaces which are having in this spaces variable. The end I don't want anything. For that reason I am mentioning nothing. So apart from this, if you could able to observe this pattern clearly, the spaces are keeps reducing in every single new row. So for that reason, as and when this inner for loop got completion of its execution, I will do some modification to spaces. So that is what I am doing now here. I am reducing the value of spaces by 2 in every single euro. So now if I execute this, we can able to exact pattern which is having this left side here. So now we have got the left side pattern. So now we need to generate the right side pattern. If you understood and enjoying this video so far, hit the like button and let us go and see how we can generate this right side pattern. So to generate right side pattern, we will be following the similar procedure as we have generated left pattern. So let's go ahead and quickly see how we can do that. So in this right side pattern, we are starting with the value of I minus 1. This is the value of I, which is 2. And we are starting with I minus 1, which is 1 here. Here we are having I value 3. We are starting with I minus 1, 2 and going till the value of 1. In every single row, this is happening. The value of I, which is 4, I minus 1, which is 3 and going till the value of 1. So as we have these repeated statements which are starting with a value I minus 1 and going till the value of 1. So in that case, as we have repeated statements, we use loops. That is what I will be doing now. For k in range. So now we need to generate those range of values starting with I minus 1 and going till the value of 1. So for that reason I am mentioning 0. So by the functionality of range, it will be stopped at the value 1. So we need to have these values in the descending order. For that reason I am mentioning 1. So now I will just print the value k to know what values we are having in k. So we can see the values 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we have got the values which are exactly what we have in this right side pattern. So now we have got the values, and the only thing we need to do now is that we need to arrange those values so that we will get the exact pattern. So to arrange those values, I will be using an end with a single space. So by using this, we can able to get everything in a single line. So after that, as we have reached till the value of 1, we need to generate a new line, right? That is what happening here. After reaching the value 1, again starting with line. So for that reason, after completion of this, we need to generate a new line. For that reason, I am mentioning. So now if we directly execute this, we can able to get this kind of a shape because we are printing a new line here and here. So here by this print new line character, we are stopping the values here and getting values in the new line. So we don't want that. We need to add these values at the end of this for loop. So for that reason, we need to remove this print here. So if we remove this and execute this, we can able to get the exact pattern. That is what we have above here. So I hope you can able to understand this logic so far. And if you found this video interesting so far, hit the like button and we will see how we can generate this particular below pattern. So we will follow the similar procedure how we have generated the above pattern. So for that, what we will be doing is that we will be using a for loop in order to generate this many number of rows here. So for L in range, so we need to generate the range of values, and the range of values, as we have seen the base values above, we will be taking the values which are here in the middle. They are 4, 3, 2, 1. So for that reason, I will be starting the value rows minus 1 and going till the value of 1. So for that reason, I will be mentioning 0 and we need to decrease the values, right? So for that reason, I am mentioning 1. So now let's see what values we are having in L here. So we have got the values 4321. So by using these values 4321, we can able to generate all of these values. How? Let us see. So first we will be dividing this whole pattern which is below pattern to two patterns as like in above, which is left side pattern and right side pattern. First we will print the left side pattern and later we will print the right side pattern and combine both of them and we will get the whole pattern. So now we will print this particular left side pattern. So if you could observe this left side pattern carefully, we are starting with value 1 and going till the value of 4, which is nothing but the value L here. So we have L, the value 4 here. After that, this row we are starting with 1 going till the value of 3, which is nothing but the value L here. So like that, in every single row, we are starting with value 1 and going till the value of L. So that is what we have here. And as we have these repeated statements, we use loops, right? So for that reason, in this for loop, I will use another for loop for M in range. So we need to generate a range of values and the range of values should be starting with 1 as we have discussed, starting with 1 and going till the value of L. So for that reason here what I will be doing is that I will mention start as 1 and end as L plus 1. So by the functionality of this range we will be stopped at the value of L. So now what I will be doing is that I will just print the value M to know what values we have got. So if I execute this, we can see the values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. So we have got the exact values. Now the only thing we need to do is that we need to arrange those values so that we can able to get the exact pattern. So for that, I'm mentioning end with a single space. So by this, we can able to get everything in a line. So after that, what we need to do is that as we have got everything in a single line, we need to do some modification. We could observe this pattern as and when we reach the value of L, we are getting a new line and again starting here, right? So like that we need to do. So for that, this outer inner for loop is here is responsible to generate the values 1 till the value L. After it reaches to the value L, we need to generate a new line by this simple print statement. So now if I execute this, we can see the values like this. So now we need to do one more modification here. We need to print these spaces here, right? So we have in the left side these spaces. First we need to print those spaces in order to get the exact pattern. So for that, as and when I enter into this outer for loop, I will be using a print those spaces and space and multiplying this with spaces variable, and in the end I will be mentioning nothing. So apart from these printing spaces, we need to modify these spaces, right? So in every single new row, the spaces are increased by 2 spaces. So that is what I will be doing now, and I will be mentioning spaces less equal to 2. So by this, the spaces will be modified by 2. So now if I execute this, we can able to get this kind of a shape This is not what we have expected exactly. The reason why we are getting this kind is that we are using the spaces for both above pattern which is here and both below pattern which is here. So because of that reason, we need to modify a little bit of spaces values so that we can able to pattern. So to know what values we have in spaces, I am printing the value of spaces here. So we are having the spaces value as row. So in the first row, if you could able to see here, we have the values of spaces 2. So for that reason, we are getting two spaces. So that is what we need to do the modification of spaces here. So for that reason, I will be mentioning spaces plus equal to 4 because we need to convert this minus 2 to 2. So the difference is 4. That is what I will be doing is that I am increasing the spaces with 4. So now if I execute this, we can able to get the exact pattern. That is what we have expected spaces. Now we have got the left side pattern. Now we need to get the right side pattern. So we will be following the similar process to generate the right side pattern, and that is we will be we will first understand the logic here. So in every single row here, we are starting with a value of L which is here and L minus 1 and going till the value 1. In this row, we are starting with the L minus 1. L is having 4, L minus 1 which is 3 until the value 1. This row, we are starting with L minus 1, L value is 3, L minus 1 which is 2 until the value of 1. So these are repeating in every single row starting with L minus 1 going till the value of 1. So as we have these kind of repeating statements, we use loops, right? So that is what I will be doing now. I will use a for loop for n in range. So now we need to generate those range of values. And the range of values are starting with L minus 1 and going till the value of 1. So for that I am mentioning 0 and we need to decrease the values. So for that I am mentioning as minus 1 here. So now what we need to do is that we will just print the values or what values we are having. So if I execute this, we have got the values 3 to 1, 1, 1. So we can see the exact values here 3 to 1, 1, 1. So we have got the exact values. So now the only thing is that we need to arrange those values to get the exact pattern. For that, as we have done so far, I will be mentioning an end, a single space. So we can able to get this shape. So after that, we need to print a new line as and when it is to the value 1, right? So for that, after completion of this for loop, I will be using a print nothing. So now we can able to see this kind of a pattern, which is not what we have expected, but we can fix that. The reason is why we are getting this kind is that by using this print with new line character, we are printing a new line after we reaches to the value L, which is here. So after reaching to the value 4, we will be generating new line. That is the reason this is coming in the new line. So after that, we will be particular 1, 2, 3. We are getting new line. That is the reason we are getting 2, 1 in the new. So if we remove this particular print, which is responsible to generate a new line, we can able to get the exact pattern. Now, if I execute this, we can able to get the exact pattern. That is what we are expecting. The center, we have the value 5 and going further, we are reducing the values. And at the end, we have the value 1 here. So now I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this pattern. So if you found any difficulty while understanding this logic, I sincerely suggest you to watch the video carefully so that you can understand the logic clearly. So now I will just briefly explain once again so that you can able to. So as we have observed particular pattern, we are dividing this pattern into two patterns where one is above and another one is below. So this particular for loop is responsible to generate above pattern. This particular for loop is responsible to generate below pattern. So inside of this above pattern, we are again dividing this into two shapes, which is one is left side and another one is right side. This for loop is responsible to generate left side and this for loop is responsible to right side. So again in this below pattern, we again divide this pattern into two different patterns which one is left side. This for loop is responsible to side pattern. This for loop is responsible to right side pattern. I hope you can relate with this. So if you found difficulty, I sincerely suggest you watch it clearly so that you can. So now we will be using input to dynamically take input. I am asking enter rows here. Rows. So now if I execute this, it was asking me to enter rows. Let's say if I give the value 3 here, so we can see the result. Center we have the value 3 and going further we are getting this kind of shape. So let's say if I give the value 9 here, can see the pattern at the center we have the value 9. Going further we are reducing the values and got this shape. So I hope you can able to understand this logic now to generate any this kind of a pattern by any number given by the user. So if you found this video interesting, hit the like button. The next video we will see how we can actually generate this particular pattern here. So this pattern is generating continuous numbers, which is 1 2 4 5 6 7 8 9. Like that we are getting. So to stay updated with my latest videos, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. So thank you for this. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next.